Namaskaram to everyone. Welcome Sriram to this all-woman team of ours. so,
Thanks for
uh,
having me.
I will let Sriram introduce himself in brief, and before we move on, and then we can take it ahead. Sriram, would you like to say two words about yourself and Indian Raga?
Sure, yeah. I'm Sriram. I started a company called Indian Raga. I'm based in Boston. And what we do is we try to look at, we're primarily focused on the classical and contemporary performing arts of India. And we foster collaborations between different artists, young and old, to create work that is rooted in tradition but appeals to a new age audience. And we have probably one of the youngest audiences for Indian classical arts across 65 countries in the world. And we've been invited to perform for Prime Minister Modi, President Trump, many dignitaries, including key members of Lincoln Center, and featured at Jacob's Pillow, and many other prestigious venues as well. And yeah, we love performing arts, and we really want to see Indian classical arts be exciting and relevant to the youth going forward.
Thank you so much, Sriram. We are very happy that you are able to join us for this, and also because Indian Raga has been keen in helping us promote and also support our foundation and the cause, that is Dance for a Cause, which was the main intention of doing the Pratiroop series. As we all know, this is the conclusion of the series, and I'm very excited because it was a very successful endeavor, and I feel really humbled and to have you all in this journey and in this novel idea which you all believed in and put your 100% in, because of which it has been very successful for all the mentees and all the people who have got to watch it also. So there are a few things I thought we will start with the basic idea of reflection, perception, and connection. So moving on to these three spheres, we could just move towards the conclusion of this. When we reflect, Pratiroop itself means a reflection of the mentor. That is our main idea. So when we reflect back to the series of the 1 month mentorship, I would like to know and would like to hear from all the mentors what they feel about it, few insights, the difficulties, few key points, collaborations, how it works, and things like that, whatever comes to your mind. And we'd like to hear from everyone one by one. Maybe I'll start with Rama.
Thank you, Divya, and kudos to Warier Foundation for coming up with such a wonderful concept. And I think Pratiroop reiterated the fact that the roots of all classical dance forms are, just in one place. The roots are the same. And I think the other thing that really came out of Pratiroop was that avenues of learning for a classical dancer is limitless. It's absolutely limitless. And therefore, in this particular mentor-mentee project, I felt that the spectrum widened for the mentee, and I think the vision expanded, and things that she can do with her dance form has really expanded. And on a personal note, I feel as a mentor, I think it was absolute joy working with another dance form, because you just get so wrapped up in the nitty-gritties and the grammar and the dynamics of your own dance form. Yes, you do go and watch other dance forms and performances of other dancers, but then when you are closely interacting and working with a dancer of another dance form, I think it becomes absolutely interesting. So it was a very, very interesting process for me. And working with Pratiksha, who was my mentee, was absolutely a joy. And she and I thought we vibed very well. And Vyjayanti, thank you for loaning your daughter to me for a while. it was an absolute joy working with her. And as I said, for me, the expansion of Kuchipudi increased for me. And as you know, my guru was basically a very, very strong Kuchipudi dancer, Yamini Krishnamurthy. But she never taught me Kuchipudi. She only taught me Bharatanatyam. So, and I watched her do Kuchipudi so closely. And then again to watch Pratiksha and to work with her, and then to really deconstruct the movement structure and the grammar of Kuchipudi to align it with my thought process was indeed an extremely joyful experience for me. So thank you, Divya. Thank you, Warier Foundation.
Next in my screen is Neena teacher.
Namaskaram, everybody. Very glad to see the entire Pratiroop series people together, and also very happy to see Mr. Sriram of Indian Raga joining us, Madhavan sir, and all the icons of Indian dancing. First of all, I thank Madhavan sir, Divya, and the Warier Foundation to have come with an idea, which of course Divya must have discussed and got an idea. But for me, it was just like something very surprising, and I didn't know that it would come out this successful. Seeing all the dancers, so I like to express the joy. How smooth it went, in the sense that there can be many conversations, dialogues in between, but the end result was something establishing the fact that, as Rama has already told here, like we come under the same root, belong to the same root, and also experimenting is something which we all do. Now this has given all the mentees here to be, many, sometimes a scapegoat also, but at the same time, the idea working and coming fruitful into a dance. It is something I was really, I'm very happy and surprised to have worked with Romini, who is very trained, very much trained with Sharmila ji. Of course, I had a bit of starting problems where she might not understand. I am trying hard to make her understand all these things, but it went, every step was the first steps was a bit sometimes tricky, sometimes like, oh, okay, what would turn up, but from the middle point, it went very smooth. And so my experience, I have a very fantastic experience with her. Of course, any knowledge is very important. So I was also learning the beauty of Odissi in close quarters, and how a presentation can become, how my opinion can turn into a beautiful thing. It was a splendid experience. Thank you, Divya and Warier Foundation.
Thank you, teacher. Vyjayanti Akka.
Well, thanks, because in one way, you make things which we at one point of time never thought we would either mentor, especially online. So mentoring online, and that too, you don't know that artist, and the first time even they don't know us, probably they've heard of us, but the very thought that how will she, being another form, these things, as they interact with us or we interact with them, you see at one point how every student at their levels of their age and their experience think, how strongly they're rooted in tradition. And there's always this thought, if I make this experimentation, how would my audience receive me? Or how would there's this thing which slowly at that age, when they're getting mentored, it will really be a strong foundation, strong experience for them on which they can work on their future choreographic processes. This is when they're used to their guru. I think always they think, oh, my guru is with me, so it's so easier. And probably at times they also think that they don't use their ideas as much, probably because they depend on their gurus. In this way, there's also this thing that we are trying to see what they are good at, what is their form, the strength of their form. It's a give and take, and you feel so nice at the end of the project that in the beginning, there are so many gaps. And by the end of it, you see that all artists, when it comes to presentation, they fall in love with it. I always say this because every artist or the mentor or the guru wants to bring out the best. And this beautiful thing that nothing can stop an artist, maybe wherever they are, they want to work and bring out. They're so connected with the art forms. And that was the beauty to see that all the gurus, all the mentors in this project, involved in their project, we could see the form that they belong to, but we could also see where that innovation came from. So thanks to you, and the cause also behind it is something which I really appreciate. And I'm sure that Nishta is a beautiful dancer, and I will definitely feel happy to see all these young dancers bloom. And of course, Rama, I'm happy that Pratiksha, as I said, Pratiksha wanted to work with you, and I'm happy that she was under your hands. And Divya, I want to share one thing. Before I started Kuchipudi, you never know where things get connected. I wanted to learn Kathak. And at that point of time, there was no Kathak in Bangalore. So probably it was that thing that gets connected to. So thank you. And I really think that every dancer, young dancer, who wishes to take this as a profession, who wants to aspire to see her growth in this, should work like this, especially in this period of time that we are all in, where people want innovation within you. Congratulations to you and to the team.
Sriram, before we go on to Sharmila and Prerana ji, would you like to add a few words? I know you have seen maybe few of our episodes and scenes, and it's generally quite different to what you showcase on Indian Raga platform, because it's a work in progress and it's not a finished product.
Yeah, no, I think I've personally been very excited by the idea that art forms in India are so diverse and beautiful, and there needs to be a way for them to come together in a meaningful fashion. And many times we just see it as fusion, but that doesn't really work because it's difficult to master two art forms together, especially at a younger age. So this as an idea was really powerful for me, because I think just like we see in science and technology, there is merit sometimes in stepping outside of your core vertical and learning some concepts or exposing yourself to some ideas from a different discipline, and then be able to bring something new back to your own tradition that just helps it make it better. And even if you don't bring anything new, sometimes it just helps to compare and contrast, to learn and digest and internalize that better. So we try to do that at the fellowship at Indian Raga, where we bring different artists from different art forms together, and we tell them very, very clearly, you're only going to be performing ultimately the art form that you've been chosen for being very good at that. The point of coming together with some other art form is to see how they do something, and then maybe either feel inspired and take something back from it. And this, I think, was lovely in that sense that we got to actually see it from maestros who can bring not just grammar and technique, but also years of wisdom and maturity that, many times younger dancers will take some more decades to sort of get. And coming from that perspective and presenting something, which is why we were comfortable with putting work in progress out there rather than just the final product that we always do. So congratulations to you for the idea, for the fantastic initiative, and to everyone's support and collaboration. I think it's time the Indian classical art forms all came together and did as much work together collaboratively as possible, while retaining the sense and tradition and discipline of each of them that make them so special.
So true, so true. Thanks, Sriram. Sharmila ji, reflections about our process.
So this, I just want to say that when I was watching the performances, the performers, the mentees, I could see that, one thing was there, that each of these mentees, they were very strong in their own style. I mean, their training and all that, and then trying to imbibe and kind of absorb without losing their essential style. That was the purpose. And it reminded me of what Guruji used to do, my Guruji used to do, because, we are we are all in, you know, kind of tight kind of a clusters as you know, classical dancers. I know it is my style, in my style this happened, that's happens and all that. But then I actually saw Guruji imbibing and making it Odissi. And there was nothing he would not do. There was no area of performing art from where he would not get excited enough to absorb anything and everything all over the world. And everything came out in the language of Odissi, ultimately. So that was very interesting. I always find, as everybody finds, that this process of the mentors coming from a different style, and it does give all the not only the mentees, the mentors also a lot of opportunity. Now coming to this Mohiniyattam and Odissi issue. See, the thing is that both the styles people take as, you know, something very soft and gentle and rounded. And the first thing which comes to our mind, you know, when we are putting together Mohiniyattam and Odissi, is something very feminine and very soft, and it's interesting. It's rounded, but the movements are different. It's so much. It's so different. But you know, we chose a subject which will take both of us away from what we do usually. So we will be challenging each other, and it was always think that we could be like, we can say that, okay, I don't like what you have done, but I have to tell you what would be a better substitute. So all this working process were very good. And personally, again, I would say about Divya that, I found she was not only extremely hardworking, but very flexible. So, and that again reminded me of, I think, Gurukul, you know, the tradition of Gurukul. And it is always so beautiful to see that this tradition exists. The basic nuances, basic things have not changed. What we used to do, the way we used to work, the same way. It's same way, only the process and the technology has changed and all that. But in every age, like my Guruji was very tech savvy in his time, and he was very, very, you know, he would say, if we have a technology, why don't we use it? We have to use it. He was like that. So that way, I found it very personally to work, you know, working with Divya, very nice. And I must say thank you to Neena ji, you know, for giving her to me. And through her, I could see you also. I have not seen your work. Your work in the sense, I have not seen you working with your students like that in a close quarter. I have only seen you perform.
It was like a barter system.
Well, barter, yes, I guess. But you know, sometimes we can see the mentors.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that was interesting. Correct. Very, very nice. And then another thing I would like to add is this. I have done this mentoring thing with many other dancers of other forms, which always excites me, because I said, okay, I'm showing it in an Odissi way, and you convert and satisfy me, show me in your way. But this is the first time I'm doing it, like, you know, all of us, we are doing it online. So I feel I will talk about the advantages first. I think the advantages are that when we are together, we become too physical. You know, we are just moving, you know, very angik, you know, all our teaching or telling. And here we could be really objective, writing notes, having more time, looking at the videos, you know, more reflective, I would say. A lot of things actually happened while we were sitting and discussing ideas rather than dancing. And the energy goes and the focus goes elsewhere. So I think this online mentoring process, if the mentor and mentee relationship works well, and there's an understanding which comes, then it's really, really nice and can be really productive. And I would say that for this is a work in progress, so I never felt that I have to achieve anything. Or I told Divya also, you don't have to achieve anything. There's no finished product you have to give. But we should not kind of rush. So I felt that this work in progress, this part of thing can happen even later on. If it happens like this through online, we can focus on the things which happens pre-production, the final production, all that, what with the process. And then of course it has to be before a production, it has to be a closer physical, when we are physically together. So I found it very, very productive.
Thank you, Didi. So we'll move on to Prerana.
Nothing left, everybody said everything. And I just want to share that, in this whole process, I never felt that I'm working on something. It's strange that me and Kirtana, we just talked and talked. That's it. And this was an experience for me. Why? Because this was the first time that I was working and mentoring a dancer who is other than Kathak. And, it's always, whenever we talk about classical dance forms, we always compare Kathak and Bharatanatyam very easily. Means the contrast is there. And because the angularity and the roundedness, these are two completely different. You can see so many angles here, and you can see rounded figures here. So I was so fascinated by the enthusiasm of Kirtana, and Rama, she has so many reflections of you, and it's so wonderful to see her that you can see the reflection of gurus in the dancers, and it's wonderful to see that. And so I was just I was very happy, and the enthusiasm of Kirtana was so like infectious. Whenever she comes always with a great homework, and I have some problem with myself that whenever I talk about poetry or I work with poetry, I always have this notion that maybe the person sitting next to me is understanding my thought or not. But it didn't happen with Kirtana, and we just clicked, and it was a wonderful process, and she came out beautifully. And because I believe in simplicity, and that's what she also believed in. And there was nothing, just no setups, nothing, just simple costume, and she just showed whatever she wanted to. And few gestures, and she was little hesitant in the beginning, and like I don't know who said this, that whatever you do in your style, it will become your medium. If I am doing any actions or any movements out of Kathak, then it will become Kathak, because the Kathak is in me and the body is so tuned. And so I told Kirtana many a times that you just try out that few gestures, maybe it will become yours. And it happened, I think. And I like, Divya, this title of your Dance for a Cause. And I think Dance for a Cause, an NGO like yours, and come out with this great idea of working with dance and working through dance. It's wonderful. And what should I say? Because everybody said everything, and it was a great experience. And I think that, yes, virtually it happened, and that's why we could work so closely. And because this virtual medium I'm experiencing for the first time, and I'm not very computer savvy, as you know now. Everybody knows कि मुझे यहाँ आने में कितना देर लग गई. So, but yes, I worked, and I think I have also learned when you are working with younger person, you always learn. And that's what I believed in. And all the younger dancers, they are equally hardworking, equally enthusiastic, equally so intense, and want to get everything and want to gain everything out of their seniors. And that is really interesting and fascinating. So I think it was a great experience. And Divya, thank you so much for this. And I think as I told you I think somewhere in our talks while working, that this work in progress should come out on the stage in the live with the live audience, and all these mentors also should be there, I think. And to, like we are talking now, if we can talk publicly, so I think people can understand that styles more and more intensely and deeply, because sometimes you just ignore the styles, dance styles, with some phrases, like Kathak is known for just chakkars and fast and speed. That's it. But there are so many nuances, and like all other dance forms, So I think it should come out with the live audience and on the stage, and I am hoping for that. And congratulations that it finished and finished wonderfully. So thank you, Divya. Thank you, Divya.
Thank you, Didi.
Yeah.
So I think after we have reflected on the process, we will just move on to perceptions. So here I would like to take more of Sriram's input, because we are in this digital age and also a pandemic, and the next, I think 1 year, we do see this platform being the platform for the artists. So if you could share, how serious work, like what we are trying to do, which is not maybe a complete production, and which is more research oriented, and not 1 minute or 2 minute pieces, how artists like us can use this digital medium and social media to reach to the Rasikas and global audience.
If we had the answer to that already, we would be in a very different place right now. But
But
I'll
your
just talk about
suggestions maybe to the mentors, or if you
Yeah.
have some questions to the mentors with respect to this, or how they perceive it.
And I'd love for this to be as interactive as possible. So please, requesting everyone to just unmute and ask questions or jump in if needed. I think we're all trying to figure this out together. I found it really interesting. Sorry, when Sharmila ji said about this whole process being online, and it's interesting to take something that otherwise has just been in the live format, and how she said that you then tend to be a lot more angik, versus here you can be a little bit more objective and see from far and give feedback. I think is really powerful. And I've actually been speaking with a lot of dance teachers during the pandemic to see how we can help them. And it's amazing how most of them have adjusted to teaching online and really understood that you can actually give objective feedback looking at videos. And we've been, for example, providing timestamp based feedback to our fellows for the longest time, because it's very expensive to come together and spend a lot of time in person. So if the creative process can start before, then it just becomes a lot easier for everyone to be able to invest the time and do it at their own time and come in. So that is something I think you guys have really validated through this process as well, that even at the more advanced levels, it is possible to look at videos and start the interaction online. Because I always feel, and I don't know how everybody else feels, that the creative process cannot be forced overnight. So, we used to start doing the fellowship saying that, okay, great, you guys are here for 1 week, now churn out all these videos. And they would like stay up all night long and try to keep going. But every day the choreography would change, because your mind is getting used to it and adjusted to it. And that's the reason why we started the entire thing online 3 months ago. So the dancers can sleep over it, right? You kind of like look at it, you exchange some ideas, you try out a few things and then sleep over it. And then you kind of have something else that comes in. So that I think is one of the biggest takeaways for me from this project, that it is feasible and possible to do.
Yeah, at this point, Sriram, though, I would like to add. So when we got introduced, me and Sriram have known each other for a couple of years now. We worked on an Indian Raga project when I helped him choreograph a piece. But so this was almost, I think, 5 or 4 years back. I think that we did this project.
Yeah.
3 to 4 maybe. So they were already doing what we are doing right now. So whatever it is that we are doing right now, Indian Raga was already doing it when it comes to mentorship and fellowship. So that's the reason, Sriram, I would like to know what are you planning to do next, because I think we should already start following it. So
I
we're
think
not
we're
behind
starting
as
to.
classical dancers now.
No, so I mean that's very interesting, right? So the next thing for us, and which is something I'd invite everyone to join into the process, is we're actually thinking of doing this for live productions as well. And I think I've been at the NCPA when we used to witness, choreographies happening, and I've spoken to so many dancers in the past. And I think the first few days is more about just brainstorming, ideating, and just like trying out a few different things. And there is comfort in knowing that you can do it from the comfort of your home at your own time. You just put everybody together. There is this like pressure to deliver all the time. And I think sometimes it's helpful to have that, and you just do that and then go cook, or just do that and go out for a run and just like think about it as you sleep. And I think this combination of digital and live, I think, is a very powerful blend. And leveraging that more effectively reduces the pressure on financial requirements as well, which I think is very important for all of us in the classical space to talk about. Like, we don't have the kings anymore to support all of this. There has to be somebody who is figuring out how to make this work and be able to do many more of these. So I think taking part of the process offline really eases the pressure, because half the time I feel like we are all working for the sake of the hotels and the airline industry, because we're just like spending and spending and spending and doing so much work. And most of the money goes towards all of those logistics that are being supported. So that, I think, is the first thing I would like to take back from this. The second thing I would say is I love some of the themes that were presented as part of this series. I would just encourage us to think more about a lot of things that are occupying people's mind right now, because today's generation faces challenges very different from past generations. Yes, we absolutely have to maintain our traditions and the repertoire, but I think using the same grammar and technique, if we can apply it to new stories today that are actually part of the conversation, in the news, it will help the process of trending a lot more. And final thing is just, I think what I enjoy about this process is you have the maturity and the wisdom of seasoned artists being given to work that is also being driven by younger artists. So giving them the ability to start taking more leadership and ownership with the support and the mentorship. And I don't know if that happens as often across the dance community. There's very few visionary maestros and dancers like yourselves who are okay with that. But otherwise, the whole idea is that you cannot choreograph a piece till you finished, 18, 20 years under me. And so hence what happens is those dancers then are aching to do something, and then they go and start doing their own work on social media, doing their own thing, because today everybody has a platform. So I think if the dance community just is a little bit more encouraging, saying, sure, start the process of either creating your own work or whatever, under my mentorship and guidance, I think it'll be really valuable, and we'll see a lot more quality work coming out, which today is a little rare, is what I would say.
So as you mentioned, as you're mentioning in this, the last portion of our the session is connection.
Yeah.
So connecting to the society as a whole has always been a part of Indian culture and arts. So creating that connection now, obviously through a different platform. So I would like to know from all of you, like Ramaka, Sharmila ji, Pratiksha. I'm so calling Vyjayanti Pratiksha because name is written Pratiksha. Vyjayanti Neena teacher, and Prerana ji, as to right now, for, as Sriram said, for your students, how do we create that connection in this global world with this global platform? Is there a different way to look at it?
So Divya, I'll come in here if you allow me, because this is in connection and in conjunction with what Sriram said. So Sriram, I totally agree with you when you say that it's time that we use the medium of the classical dance forms, because they are a very, very strong medium of communication. And for a change, try telling stories that are relevant, that are contemporary, that are happening around you, that are socially necessary and the need of the hour. Yes, I agree with you. But at the same time, what happens is we also need to understand that even old stories,
Yep.
traditional stories, can be told with a relevance for today. And I'm sure you agree with me.
Absolutely.
So it's extremely important that dance is used as a medium to showcase the relevance of not just Indian classical dance, but of Indian culture and cultural heritage holistically, and not say that, it is because there is this thought that, it's traditional, it's old, it's ancient, and all of that, right? And Indian Raga has demolished that stereotype thought. So, like, for example, we do the Ras Leela during Navratri. Everybody does the Ras Leela, and there are so many choreographic compositions on the Ras Leela. But then we also need to make it a point to explain why the Ras Leela, why there was only one Krishna, why did he romance with so many women? How is that possible? Is it to tell us that there is just that one God which is within you, and everybody has an individual dialogue, individual relationship with God? Because every Gopika thought that Krishna is dancing only with her. For example, Krishna stealing the clothes of the gopis and putting it up on the tree and giving it to them only when they get up and show their complete nude bodies and say namaskar to Krishna. So now this is something even a 10-year-old kid is taught in dance. Now we need to make it relevant, and we need to say, yes, Krishna did that, because now whether he really did it or did not do it, we do not know. But this has been coming as a cultural tradition, as stories of our weave, of our country. So we need to say that the body is the biggest ego, and then when you shed the ego of the body and you surrender completely to the Almighty, that is when you achieve a sense of self-realization or spiritual realization. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that even a story from the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, anything, we need to try to make it relevant. What is the meaning of Namaste? Why do we light a lamp in the evening? So many things that we can use dance. We can use dance to speak about the relevance of our ancient Indian culture. So I think this is something that we can think about, and this is something even Indian Raga can think about, because there is a lot of importance on the form, which is beautiful. But I think we can also give a lot of importance to content
Absolutely.
and the layers of the content and the layers of the content. What exactly are we trying to say? Are we only showing what you're seeing, or are we also telling another story, or are we also disseminating another message which is actually very contemporary? Draupadi being the Vastrabharan of Draupadi scene, hundreds and thousands of dancers do it. But what are we actually trying to say through that? We're talking about respect to women, and how what are we talking about when we talk about Ardhanarishwar? We talk about the woman and the man, that they both need to complement each other, and a society can survive and can progress only when man and woman are on the same level. So I think explanation and depiction and bringing it somewhere, weaving it into the choreography is important, I feel. So I think we should all think about this.
Absolutely.
I want to add something here, if I may. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but can I add something here?
Please, of course.
Yes.
Well, I feel that whatever, whether it's story or music or movement, whatever, which has survived, and it has come to us, all through so many years and all that, you will find that all the stories are not relevant, but those who have, which we are popular, as you say, Ras Leela and Rama had mentioned so many, they already have something to tell us. That's why they survive. That's why otherwise, you know, it's actually not very, it's very difficult to, because we are contemporary people. We are living in today's time. So it doesn't matter what we say, we cannot do something which doesn't, like, we cannot connect to. So we are only doing stories, and we are trying to tell a message, as Rama says, something which is relevant, which is, connected. Now here there's some problem which I see, that, as Rama says, that we need to explain. We need to explain. If we just show the Ras Leela or some of the things, say that even if I am understanding, the audience is not understanding. So more, I think, communicative kind of, whatever the dance theme is, whatever we are presenting, more ways of communication is needed.
Absolutely agree with both of you, and thank you for that perspective. And I think I'll just take it to the next level. And I know Vyjayanti ji wanted to say something too, but if I could just respond to this briefly. And just want to push that thinking to the next level. I'm so happy that all of you are open to the idea. One of the challenges we face is that a lot of what is there today, social media is primarily consumed by younger audiences. In a live concert, because people of a certain stature who, once you have reached, it's like Maslow's pyramid, right? You've reached a certain point in life, and then you start appreciating higher art, and then you go invest in it, and then you buy tickets and you go watch it. Their level of thinking is at the level that you're talking about. When you see social media primarily consumed by younger audiences, flipping through their phones and just looking in a few seconds if something excites them or not, this level of deep understanding and explanation is boring for them. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Yeah.
Okay. Quickly, I want to enter here.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
You, Sriram, you have got them to enter the temple, but then they also need to enter the Garbhagriha. You've got them to, they've entered the temple. You've shown them, the street, the brilliance.
Can I get some?
Entering the temple first.
Every experience cannot stand in the same level. That's also there, If they just walk around the temple, it's there. Sriram, whatever, you kind of tell, the experience again, it will become at a level stereotype. Again, you need to go to the next level, isn't it? So whatever you say can also stay in a certain level and get jammed there.
Can I?
Okay, Prerana ji, sorry, Sriram.
I want to also complete my thoughts, so I'll let Prerana ji speak.
First of all, the traditions can't be old. Traditions are surviving because they are contemporary, and they are contemporary each and every day, first of all. And the second thing is, my experience is with the younger generation that, we think that they will get bored. But sometimes they come out like this, that, oh, hame kisi ne ye bataya nahi aaj tak. They didn't get this perception of symbolism, or because each and every god or every character or every mythological character, we have all the symbols. So whenever, like Rama said, that if you say that why Ganesh ji is so big and unka vahan chuha hai, how to say? And if you say that this is the intellect, and which is go just through the intellect you can win over. So ye jaise hi aap kehte hain, so they will not get bored. This is our perception, that we are looking at them in this way.
I'm talking by looking at data on our channel. I'm talking from a very objective point of view. All of you are assuming that Indian Raga has already made people enter the temple. I'm saying no. We are struggling every day to make people stop and watch some of our most interesting work. Trust me, the pieces that have gone viral on Indian Raga, and I have no problem accepting this publicly, are not the ones that I have put my most amount of time and effort and passion into. There are beautiful pieces of work that we have done with only 10,000 views in the last 5 years. That is the one where most money has been invested, most thought, most time, most effort. And they are the ones that are least viewed, right? Because the pieces where we said, Acha, theek hai yaar, we took an iPhone ringtone, they just quickly put something together. I literally thought of that as some fun filler behind the stage, backstage content hoga. That is at like 500,000 views in like 1 week, right? So my point is the struggle we are right now, and the problem is I'm a minority here right now because we don't have the kind of audiences I'm talking about on this conversation. So I want to caveat what I previously said to Ramaji's point, that if we were to do everything only to pander to people's attention spans, then the richness of classical arts will not be there. Absolutely. Having started this company and being so passionate about it, I know that. And that's what I want to prevent as well. So the Garbhagriha is the ultimate goal. But entering the temple is exactly what we're talking about. It is very, very hard to make them enter the temple right now when it comes to pure classical traditions. My request to all of you is that if we can think of even in the pure artistic tradition, some of the themes that we're talking about explaining are also still at an advanced level. When you think of all of those themes after you've achieved some life experience, I think that entry point for Indian classical arts, or especially Indian classical dance, is not quite there yet.
Yeah,
it
I
is
think
there in our own circles that we've seen. Divya, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I think you're completely right, and I think with all the gurus who are here right now with us, I think I also that is one question that I also discussed with you also, whether all of us should be also spend some time to create content which is short and sweet and yet philosophically high in values, so that we can reach the audience, but we are not lowering our art form for the Rasikas to understand completely, but making it more, communicating it in a better way and making it much shorter and sweeter. So is that something, all of you would encourage your students to do? I don't know. So
Yeah, what I feel is there are multi experiences within the art form. You know, the art form which you see as a visual from the virtual space is different from what you get as the real core. You know, like a one-to-one experience. The one-to-one experience is incredible, and it is really you cannot compare that with the like the virtual experience within the internet. So I think this has to be thought separately.
correct.
And whereas if I'm like as Sriram told, some adventures of Chota Bheem. Okay, so that I can make somebody do that. The problem is that knowing only the grammar of classical dance, I need to learn many things, or I need to encounter many things to make it interesting in the visual sense.
Yes.
I may not simply think about my art form alone and its core, but I should, decode many things and come to another one to make it interesting. So that is, I place that it as a different work together. It is,
Definitely.
yeah, that's it.
I would like to add something here.
Yes, Didi.
When we are changing any medium, say the space from a small temple to, a kind of a space we are dancing in a small setup house, and then it goes to stage. Now it's a medium. So everywhere the medium is changing. So we have to change completely. The same message of dance, the same maybe technique or anything, but everything changes. How we kind of, if we want whatever we are doing on stage, if we just kind of shoot it, we have seen in this field, we have learned, all of us have learned that it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
At the same time, what is required, as coming to the point of getting into the temple and going into the Garbhagriha, I think both are important. I mean, even the smaller bits and pieces, which we say, okay, people are always flipping like that. But if I think about what happened 30, 40 years back, there was no awareness. People, even the young children, general people didn't even know that there were the names of the classical dances or how it looks. So even that has some value. And some will go to the Garbhagriha. That will be always very few people, as you say. The most expensive part and the most precious part is always for the special. Others are popular art forms. Now, partly we are becoming part of that popular art form, and what to give and what not to give. That's the thing.
I would say the other
Correct.
thing that we've noticed in our audiences is I think ultimately people do have an appreciation for quality, right? Even your mass audiences. And I think it is good that in popular culture, there are all of these like remixes and everything because people are getting tired of it. Like once you get this overdose of digital, people do go back to the basics. They do love it. They are looking at all of those as well. It's just that I think we can get them to that point when we have a fusion thing. Imagine from a child's perspective. And when I say child, I'm talking even teenagers, right? Really fast music, 2 to 3 minute videos maximum, colorful costumes, lots of fast movement, lots of excitement. Okay, so we got them to enter the temple. Then their next step directly is a very slow paced, detail oriented, meticulously presented thing that they need to suddenly switch gears to see when they have a moment of peace, which happens in a live setting. And it is beautiful. I will never give up that for anything on the planet. But I cannot watch these back to back while traveling on the train. And we need that interim step to take them from there. Else we will come to the temple, play, have the prasadam in the playground and go back out. So my request to all of you, and just what I'm trying to put out here,
Yeah, before your request, I will let
Can I-
Prerana say a few words.
Oh, please, sorry.
Can I add something? Can I add something? Because I think we have to make them understand, because once I was working with the selected future leaders, younger students from all over India, and they were engrossed in their like laptops and everything. And I just asked them that I just want to ask you one question. And I said that, what do you think that this world without any art form, no literature, no music, no sculpture, no paintings, no poetry, and no film music. And suddenly everybody just put down their earphones and they said, ma'am, it's horrific, So, you have to make them realize, like once one girl of MGD school here in Jaipur, she asked me that, how would you relate to Kalidas? Because I was doing something with Ritu Samhar. I said, look, 6th century poet, I am standing in 21st and I just pulled up Kalidas up to here. And we have 6 seasons. We have 4 seasons so prominently. So we have 6 seasons. What's wrong with that? So I think we have to make them understand, and they will understand. Because I never believed that this younger generation will not understand. Like you said, that they have to go back to the old music, because they are jo bhi reality shows, all the reality shows, if they are winning with the old songs.
Yeah.
You
can't sing the new one. Yeah.
Always, nothing new, And like the saying is that there is nothing in this world which is new, because sab kuch ho chuka hai pehle, aisa kaha jata hai. But anyway, but I think we have to, because we don't have to misunderstand or underestimate them. They will understand. That is my personal experience.
So Divya, before you end and before Sriram makes his last request, I really want to tell you, Sriram, that Indian Raga has been doing phenomenal work, and do not undermine your efforts by saying that you've not been able to get them to the temple. You have been able to, because trust me, I interact with a lot of youngsters, in India and outside, and I myself have done that workshop
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So in this whole process, I do realize that there has been a huge shift. Now, when I say huge, obviously for us it's huge. Let us not compare it with Bollywood and say, oh my God, that's not huge. No, compared to what was, like Prerana said, like what Sharmila said, compared to what it was 30, 40 years ago, compared to that, this is a huge shift of how many youngsters have been getting, have not just getting attracted, understanding what is classical dance, the differences between the different dance forms. And I think kudos to Indian Raga for that. for that. So I just
you.
wanted to comment.
Yeah.
That's
That's
very
right.
encouraging. I remember actually Ramaji's workshop that happened at the very first fellowship back in 2013. I just was mesmerized. I'll tell you why, because it was not a workshop for dancers. It was a workshop in Abhinaya for our musicians because we didn't have dance at that point of time. And I've always believed that a singer, and we even try and tell our artists today as well, if you're just clenching your face and just doing this and trying to get your note right, you can't hear that in the song anymore. You have to be able to smile and feel it and get to a level where you can do that. And her workshop opened up the musicians' mind so much about how you can figure out these nuances that a dancer can bring, right? And there's so much you can learn from this give and take. And so I think I'm just aching to have more people get to the point where they realize that. Because in the choreographies that all of you, and I've seen all of your work, it is not just simply putting the dance together. It's about all the layers of emotion. Did you use emotion that is exaggerated? Did you use emotion that is toned down? Did you use costumes that are loud? Did you use costumes toned down? How was the lighting, right? And I've seen Ramaji's performance also at Drive East the very first year, where you did the story of 3 female women saints and using Bharatnatyam to explore those stories in different cultures. There was so many layers in there. And I would love for somebody, without even Indian Raga having to be involved, to produce saying, she did that work, look at all of the various things that she did, and them explain all of that. That is my goal next, to Divya's point. That rather than us be the preacher all the time, oh, this is what we did, explanation, please watch it, this is what it is. They should feel compelled to come and do, look at this brilliant stuff that was done there.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I mean, the one final thing I wanted to come to also to offer some more help on this front is, I don't know if everyone's aware, and this is not a plug for Indian Raga, this is we realized recently, well, from many senior dancers telling me on talks like this, that creating and building YouTube channels is hard. And we know that more than anybody else, because getting viewership is really hard. So we've partnered with YouTube India to offer for free support for artists who have just launched their channels or are very small in their channels. So if either you in your own YouTube channels or your students would like that support, then there's a very simple 2-minute form you have to fill up for free with your channel. And we will have the YouTube team select multiple ones and mentor.
I'll provide all the links to everyone. I have all the details. So I think we'll come to the conclusion now. So as the takeaway from this entire session has been, obviously we have reflected upon the past 2 months, and also being the new year coming up, I think it was a great thing to end this year with. I think I'm very excited and grateful for everybody to be on board for this. We have also looked at a perspective as artists, teachers, gurus into what the future holds for all of us. And finally, connections. So we have all made our own connections with each other, but also found better ways, whether it is novelty of the idea, content creation, duration, how to present it, the medium, with Sriram's presence here. So I think we brought all the 3 into one gamut, and finally had a very fruitful project. And thank you to everybody once again for being here. I would just like Dad to introduce Warier Foundation in very, 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 very small few minutes. I hope nobody's too hungry yet. So Acha, if you can just talk about Warier Foundation, the vision, basically, why Warier Foundation for you, Acha, and the basic philosophy, actually, because everybody here is a philosopher in their own respective ways. To Achan.
First of all, I wanted to appreciate Pratiroop, and especially the renounced the dancers and the mentors and the participants in that, for forming your inner being, reflection of your inner being, and coming out to a different pattern of dance form. I really appreciate your penance and devotions to create it. Really want to congratulate. Warier Foundation is not an organization or a charitable trust. It is a movement where our inner uniqueness, to reflect it, and to be an integral part of a universal family. In that process, we are blessed by the great support of the organizations, the individuals, for having the support in our ongoing projects, where we have educated more than 3,000 children, giving shelter, healthcare, and everything in our 4 centers. And now they have been well settled. We have provided around 300 houses with the flood affected victims or Adivasi people where they are homeless. And we also have our own land, more than 50 acres, where we planted more than 10,000 trees. And we are conducting eye checkup camps for school-going children. We have done handwriting of about 3 lakh students. Their handwriting being improved with a different thought process. And being present for writing, the handwriting itself will make them to be more attentive and more creative. And we got the best corporate award from Red Cross Society as the best donor for blood donations. Like that, no, we are enrolling the empowering for let us visualize through the Pratiroop to hold the hands together, to reflect our inner beings, a blissful state, what we are having it, which people will be really looking forward. And I'm quite sure the ultimate purpose of human life through the Vedas says to understand Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya or Atma Shashalkar or the enlightenment, whatever we are talking, to know our inner being where it is everlasting, blissful, Satchidananda Swarupa, and it has no beginning, no end, and the body, mind and intellect only an instrument. And this platform, we can reflect it to reflect our inner being. So thank you once again to Pratiroop and all the mentors for the wonderful occasion. And then I really learned a lot through having this conversation. And thanks, Divya. I think your creativity and then your thought process really wondered. And I'm sure Warier Foundation can lead under your umbrella, all your umbrellas in a different platform. We are here to listen and then progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Acha. Okay, so I think we will conclude this session. Thank you all. I'm just fully, full of emotions right now, and just to see the screen with all of you all together. I hope we get to meet very soon, and Indian Raga and Warier Foundation can hopefully make this a live presentation too soon with either NCPA or wherever we get the opportunity to do it. And let's work more, Sriram. I think with everybody on board, we can definitely come up with more relevant, deep thought, research-oriented content, which is shorter, sweeter, yet full of rasa.
Yeah.
So I think, let's conclude. I think there is one small thing we do. Sriram, Achan may not be able to do. That is a Pratiroop logo. Sriram, you have to place your this hand here. Okay. Acha, you can also do this hand here. And this hand here. What hand?
Okay.
What? Acha, what?
This.
We'll just place it, Didi, so that we get. Sorry, I can't hear you.
We don't have to mirror you. I think it's the left hand and the right hand. This.
Left hand and the right hand under your face.
Oh, so
one
right hand is
left hand and right hand under your chin. Okay. One. Teacher, left hand and right hand. So 1, 2, 3, and smile. First time I'm making my dad dance.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Ramaka. Thank you, Vyjayanti Akka. Thank you, Sharmila Didi. Thank you, Neena Teacher. Thank you, Prerana Ji.
Congratulations,
Year to all of you, and look forward to a great year.
Happy New Year. Looking forward
Happy
to
New
that.
Year.
Happy New Year to all.
Happy New Year.
Namaskaram, sir.
Thank you to everyone.
Bye.
Takita jum, 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 takita jum.